Take one fresh and tender kiss. Add some stolen night of bliss. One girl, one boy, some grief, some joy. Memories are made of this. Don't forget a small moonbeam falling lightly with a dream. Your lips and mine, two sips of wine. Memories are made of this. Then at the wedding bells, one house where lovers dwell, three little kids for the flavor. Stare carefully through the days, see how the flavor stays. These are the dreams you will savor. With blessings from above. Serve generously with love. One man, one wife, one love through life. Memories are made of this. Memories are made of this.
Good evening, Manchester, and welcome once again to Ward 13. Tonight's guest is the man, what would I call it? Mr. Veteran, but that's not a real rank. That would be the Navy, right? Mr. Mike Lopez, who's our former alderman at large. You were my alderman, and my fellow denizen of Ward 10. And now I'm Ward 13, the alderman with just one person, a majority of one. One of the reasons we're going to be talking about the Memorial Day and the Memorial Day Parade. And one of the reasons I wanted to share those pictures of you, it's not just about memories, but there were many veterans in that picture. And the last picture, my father, U.S. Navy, World War II, DAV, Disabled American Vet. My brother Guy, 24 years in the Air Force, and I did 50 months in the Army. And I always get 50 months because I had to do those 2 extra months.
Not years, but months.
They were a long, long time. And my father's family, and the hometown we came out of before come to Manchester. I think they were given a land grant south of here, 1720 by George II, and all the graves are done. I never mention it now because some of my Free State we won't talk about that. But when you go into the Historical Society, you can see a letter from 1745. That's to be handled with gloves. It's to the Corporal Whittemore to muster a group, of militiamen to go fight what's then called the Indians and the French. We'd call them Native Americans now. And so my family service not just starts before the French and Indian War, because it goes right into the present day. My father believed a citizen, whether you're male or female, should give at least a couple or 3 years to the military, to our country. And we had relatives. Samuel Whittemore is the official patriot of Massachusetts. Then we had somebody who was in the War of 1812, And then we missed the Mexican-American War. And I guess my family was well enough to buy in the Civil War for $300. You could buy somebody to go there. But my sister Debbie was the little moonbeam in the pictures. And Mike enlisted her in the Women's Army Corps in 1971. And my brother Guy, I was in the Cold War. I just missed the Gulf War. And Guy was in Kosovo, and so is my niece. My niece was our only officer. She's a captain, a nurse. And I have a niece and her husband now in the Air Force. So what you call your nephew-in-law has been in Iraq a couple of times. And so I have a long history of service. And that's why I asked you to be here today, because the one war we seem to have missed. I had my mother's father was in the Spanish-American War. And my grandfather was World War I. He went through was gassed. He went through all the battles, Summerhill, Belleau Wood, and he was with the the Yankee Division. And we missed the Civil War, and that's where Memorial Day comes out of. I think when I was a kid, some of the older teachers still called it Decoration Day. And I was either in kindergarten or the first grade in 1965, which was the 100th anniversary of the end of the Civil War. And they had us take the little flags and put them on the graves of just the Civil War people back of the Varney School. But now it's no longer Decoration Day, it's Memorial Day. And who better to explain Memorial Day and get a word in edgewise from your loquacious host than Mike Lopez?
Well, thank you very much. For the audience, I'm a past commander of the Manchester Veterans Council, and I've been working with them for a number of years and teaching some of the young veterans that are coming back to take over the duties of providing for Memorial Day Parade and Veterans Day Parade and other things and activities in the city of Manchester. Before I start and tell you a little bit about Memorial Day Parade, I do want to give credit to Dan Bellevaux, who's the commander of the Manchester Veterans Council, and Sam Codwell, who's the adjutant or the administrative officer, I give credit for putting this program together, because unfortunately they're working, making a living today. So I'm sort of pitching in, but they did all the work. So if you can sort of get into that.
John, can you zoom in on this?
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Monday, May 25th, Memorial Day. And I'll tell you a little bit of what's going to happen in the morning, because the parade is in the afternoon. People get it confused between Veterans Day and Memorial Day.
Right. That's
quite
so true.
Memorial Day, the veterans from the various service groups, which is the American Legion Sweeney Post, Post 79, VFW, DAV, and Post 43 in American Legion. All of us do things in the morning to remember, because the flag is supposed to be at half-mast until noon. And so, let's take the Sweeney Post. The Sweeney Post goes around to 22 different squares that are named after veterans that the city of Manchester has named, and that'd be it for another show. We can go through the squares, and they go to each of these squares to remember those veterans who have given their life for our country, and do a salute to them and do a round of volleys for each square that they participate in. At 9 o'clock in the morning, working with the AOH, which is the Order of Hibernians, and Sweeney Post, that goes along long memories, because Henry
Sweeney was from our ward, was he not?
Yes. No. Well, yes. Ward 10. That's correct.
Because sometimes it changes. That always changes that board.
We got a Sweeney Park over there.
Right,
that's named
Sweeney
after,
Park that
right?
I always went by to when we west on the way to West.
And so what happens is that at 9 o'clock in the morning we have church services over at Old St. Joe's Cemetery, and everybody is welcome to that wants to go. And you don't have to be Catholic or anything. You just go and look at the ceremony and be part of the ceremony there. Henry J. Sweeney Post sends an honor guard and and carries the flags and rifles and marches in and posts the colors, and the bishop will be there. So it's quite a ceremony. And then after that, they go back to the squares. Post 79 does similar at other cemeteries and some squares, and 43 does the same thing along with the VFW 8214. So we try to do everything by noon. Okay. The VA hospital also has something going on around 11 o'clock at the VA hospital. So, and then in the afternoon we got the parade. And we all march down Elm Street.
What time does the parade begin?
The parade is at 2 o'clock. Lineup is at 1:30. Webster and Elm Street. And we go, excuse me, we march down to Veterans Memorial Park. And there we have ceremonies. We ask people to join us. So if you see the parade go by you and you have nothing to do and you want to go see some of the ceremonies at the park, go down to Veterans Memorial Park. And it only takes about a half hour. We have guest speakers there, and the band will play the national anthem. So it's a long day for the veterans, but
it's very important.
It's very important that we remember our brothers and sisters who have given their life for their country, and we do that, and we go all out. We start at 6 o'clock in the morning on Memorial Day, and we work all the way up until after the parade. So it's a long day. We have a lot of I say a lot. We used to have a lot of World War II veterans. We have some now.
Right. When I used to take my father DAV, it seemed like everybody was World War II veterans, and the Vietnam vets were the younger guys. Now that's my healthcare provider, the VA hospital, and the World War II vets and the Korean vets are few and far between. Now the Vietnam vets are the older guys, and it's surprising how quickly we all get old. Mike.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just struck by the veterans coming in from Iraq and Afghanistan.
Oh yeah,
and because of people like you, Mike, they have a much better system to come into. I'll just tell you, I'm in a group with Vietnam vets and other groups, guys going right down to the most recent wars. And it's funny, some of the vets will be complaining, well, it took me 8 months for them to process my paperwork. And we'll have some guy that was like in the Gulf of Tonkin in '64 laughing. 8 weeks. It took me 40 years. It was the contributions of people like yourself who came back from the Vietnam era veterans.
Well, I'm willing to help anybody that comes back, because I was in the same situation when I came back from Vietnam, and I know a lot of my friends were the same, and it was the World War II veterans that got us involved in the American Legion, and we helped them, and the Korean War veterans, and so now we're turning it over sort of to the Gulf War veterans, the Afghanistan,
right,
Iraq veterans, and it's very important because it's something that it's not only tradition, but it's a service not only to our country but to our community that's important, and that's why the Manchester Veterans Council continues to operate and does the Memorial Day and Veterans Day Parade, plus other fundraising activities, different things at Veterans Park that we have done over a number of years. It was the Manchester Veterans Council that built the POW-MIA monument.
Right.
That we raised the funds, no city funds. But back to the parade, that's what we're here for. The Board of Mayor and Aldermen have been invited. The mayor has been invited. Being the chief executive of the city, he'll be a guest speaker. I believe Kelly Kayott will be there. We'll have a guest speaker from Liberty House, Ken Howard, who does a wonderful job at Liberty House.
Great
he
job.
Struggles all the time, but he's dedicated, and Liberty House is a place for homeless veterans that need help for a short time in order to get on their feet.
My viewers know well about Liberty House. Bill Barry's daughter came up with the idea, remember, for the great fundraiser that we had. They wanted to raise $1,000 because Bill, I think, marched in the Veterans Day Parade, or it might have been the Memorial Day Parade, and his young daughter, Lauren, asked him, well, what not next? And, Bill well, you tend to forget, But she says, you can't forget. We have to do something. So Bill reached out to the park side, and the fifth grade class decided, well, we're going to make Liberty House. And they had all sorts of raffles, movies. They wanted to raise just $1,000. They managed to raise over $6,500.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
amazing, amazing.
Well, and that's it.
It's a great organization.
It's not a great, and it's good for young people to
Yes.
get involved because they get really involved in veterans. I've had a lot of high school kids, a lot of veterans organizations, to include Sweeney Post. We'll go to high schools or we'll go to grade schools, and we teach them how to fold the flag, how to honor the American flag. That's part of the Americanism that we have,
Right.
And so it's very important, and it brings me to a point on Veterans Day. If you're out watching a parade and you're sitting on a curb and you see the American flag come by, please stand up.
Right, we were brought up. You were just a couple of years older than me. I always am surprised when people don't take their flags down or let them get weathered, because we were. You're not. They actually taught us that in school.
Right.
How do you? And then you're in the military on the flag, when you're on the flag detail and doing everything. To see a flag getting old or out I got used to old at night, not taking it down, but seeing a old flag. I don't say it's offensive, but.
Well, I think more.
I don't feel well
more
about
education.
it. Yeah.
But
it is. People need to know.
Yeah, Memorial High does a great ceremony.
Right.
That I think they have one on the 26th of next week. That they honor their veterans that went to school there, and they have a very good program up there, and I'm sure the other high schools do too. And we've been to all of them. It's just each one does something different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
They're honoring the veterans that graduated from their high school, and that's wonderful that they remember them. There'll be other guest speakers there. Dave Quinn, who is the state chairman of the Employee Support Group of the Guard, he'll be a guest speaker. And then the leaf rain ceremony will be done in firing of the volleys and taps. Taps is going to be by West High School, and they rotate it. The three high schools rotate it every year. What position they are in the parade and who's going to be at the park, so they tell us, and which is good because they keep track of it. Because a lot of the kids they like to play at the memorial, the taps and national anthem at the park, and so they do a good job there. So Bill Morin, who is the chaplain, he'll give an invocation and a benediction afterwards. The parade is Monday. It's supposed to be a good day. Monday afternoon, 2:00. You come down to the park, bring your lawn chair if you want, come and watch the parade, and enjoy yourself afterwards at a barbecue. And, that's what it's all about. But we dedicate ourselves to those who have given their life to our country and our community. And as you go down to Veterans Park, you look at the World War II monument, you'll see 13,000 names on there.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot
My father
of
is on. The man that you saw is on there, Claude J. Hopwood Jr.
Yep.
And Claude J. Hopwood Sr., fought on the Western Front in France, gassed. And he went and let his only son and only child join my father wanted to be a Marine just like I did, but I was colorblind. I was telling Mike about this earlier. You can't be in combat arms if you're colorblind. But he joined the Navy, and he's on there. My grandfather down in the town we came from, he's on the library there, and they're going to have. We come from Litchfield.
Yeah, let me make one correction I made because I just noticed I said 11 o'clock at the VA. It's 10:30 in the morning at the VA.
So it's going to be 10:30 at the VA.
At the VA, and they'll have a ceremony up there. Yeah, it's going to be outside, but in case of bad weather. But I don't think it's going to be bad weather, from what I understand. It's supposed to be a good day. So. But in the event they had bad weather at the VA, they usually go inside and do it because of the veterans.
Now, Mike, it's just not, veterans that are going to participate. It's all of us.
Everybody.
Everyone.
You look at some of the other countries that are today, if we weren't a good fighting force in the United States, what kind of country would we have today? And we have to recognize our forefathers who had the vision and the courage to move forward, and that's what it's all about.
Just a short story. We'll get back to it. My now former ex-girlfriend was Russian, and it came to she's only 35 years old. I just they celebrate VE Day on the not May 8th but May 9th because Joe Stalin he has things his way.
Mm-hmm.
But on one of the VE days like 10 years ago, she called me up in tears crying, and because in Russia and all of the former Soviet Union, even Ukraine and everything, the incredible loss of life that is still so alive today to them. And Memorial Day comes out of the worst war the United States ever fought was against itself, the Civil War, the most losses. And that's why we have these days, so they don't forget that loss. Because those people, when Victoria calls me crying, and she is the grandchild of people that went through that. It was my father that was a veteran too. She understands fully the loss, all the blood shed to save her country. And we need to, it's important for us too.
Oh, it's absolutely.
To pass that along.
To pass it along to the young generation and educate them and give them the history of, it's just a side note, the cemetery, the veteran cemetery.
In Boscawen?
Yeah, up at Boscawen, I call it.
Wow.
Whatever. Of course, they'll have the ceremony on the 30th, the actual day, Memorial Day.
Are you going to attend that?
No, I won't be attending that. I'll be out of town, but.
Okay.
But they'll have quite a ceremony up there. And if you've never been to a more moving atmosphere, is being into a state cemetery or a national cemetery on Memorial Day. And then you'll get the true meaning of what freedom is all about.
Visiting Arlington.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so they'll be doing that up there on the 30th.
Okay.
Go
Just
ahead.
one quick. What people don't understand the centrality of people like you, New Hampshire vets, because of New Hampshire. Veterans Day is celebrated on November 11th.
That's correct.
Because of New Hampshire vets. So I'm sure you were part of that, how important New Hampshire is. Mike, I'd like to talk about another subject while I have you here, about Hope for New Hampshire.
Well, you want to finish this?
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
let's finish.
We only have about 5 minutes.
Okay,
so
well, we want to finish this up, and
Okay.
I want to get that shot of that photo there,
John?
which is Monday, the 25th at 2 p.m. Parade starts. Lineup is at 1:30. Hoping for a nice sunny day, and we have the 3 high school bands and the middle school bands also in the parade. So 5 bands be in the parade. So we have a lot of military units to be in the parade. We have Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Vietnam veterans, motorcycles, thunder.
You're asking me with my memory.
Yeah. But
I had
anyways,
2 people scheduled.
Rolling
at the same
Thunders,
time
Rolling
today.
Thunders.
Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, they're supposed to be there. So we welcome everybody to come down and watch the parade, and those that can make it, go to Veterans Park afterwards for the ceremony. And those that can stand up, please respect the flag that's coming down that gave us the freedom that our country has. And I want to thank you very much.
And for information, go to the Facebook site Ward 13 with John Hoppin. We'll have this posted. We have just like a couple more minutes. There is an event on May 28th, an Anonymous People, if you would like to talk about that, from Hope for New Hampshire. What is Hope for New Hampshire? First, we'll talk about the event, and then...
Yeah, okay. We're done with Memorial Day, right? Okay.
Well, we're not done with it, but...
Well, how long is this going to be?
We'll have a couple minutes.
Just a couple minutes? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd just like to give a little plug for a good friend of mine, Melissa Cruz, who's been working on Hope for New Hampshire. Hope for New Hampshire is a program that we have been working on, and she has been working on for a long time. And they have a great program on the 28th of May at the Palace Theater to see the film The Anonymous People. This is people that alcoholic and drug overdose, and as everyone knows, in the state of New Hampshire, we have a great epidemic of over 321 people that have died from drugs, and 94 in Hillsborough County alone. This is a film that's going to be shown so that we're trying to work with the two outlets of the treatments to give that third leg, so to speak, of one-to-one on people helping people. And that's what it's all about, is those people that get out of the treatment centers, they're in there for whether 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, or 5 weeks. It doesn't make any difference. Once they get out, they're all alone.
Right.
They have nobody.
Mike, we still have, I get a slot to 1. Why don't we tape a special, and we'll talk about this.
Okay.
We can give 50 minutes, and we can put it on the site, and you have your own Facebook page.
Yeah.
We can do with the film and put a short film about this 15 minutes short
Very good.
show. But just tell them once again.
But this
May
is
28th.
This is May 20th. I don't know if you can get that, can you? May 28th, we'll be at the Palace Theater, and the film The Anonymous People, and 6 p.m. And it's $10. It's $10 to get in, or a friend can give you $10. Anybody can give you $10 to go in, but it's very important. It's not just for people that have addiction.
Right.
It's for everybody. It affects our community.
Yes.
And so mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, you're all welcome. We want to fill that theater because this is a very important thing for our community.
It is. And we are going to tape a short 15-minute on this, and you can access it at Ward 13 with John Hopwood on Mike Lopez's Facebook page, and it'll also be online on YouTube. Thank you very much, Ward 13. I was going to say Ward 10. That always gets Tammy Simmons mad.
Then at the wedding bells, one house where lovers dwell, 3 little kids for the flavor. Stare carefully through the days, see how the flavor stays. These are the dreams you will savor. With his blessings from above, serve generously with love. One man, one wife, one love through life. Memories are made of this. Memories are made of this.